Your socks are fine. We have the perfect frame. Professor Hsu, if you'd like to go in the middle, please. That will be wonderful. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Okay. We'll start and people will be coming in. I told them that anybody who comes to that has got a chance to get a paper accepted in contemporary hospitality management today.
That's good. Yes.
And
You should have sent a mass email to all attendees.
You don't have an email list.
okay, so do we start, guys? Good morning.
Are they still coming or not coming?
They're coming. They're still finishing coffee, and people will be coming, and people will be getting the opportunity to listen to us. Okay, so do we start slowly?
You are the boss. Is there a moderator or?
Yes, I'm the moderator. I'm the boss. I'm everything.
You want to wait for a few more minutes?
Yeah, and the idea is that we get people to ask questions that they were afraid to ask. What Woody Allen says, everything you want to know, but you were afraid to ask.
Yes.
It's exactly that. Because they don't normally, what I find is that they don't normally meet journal editors. They've got a lot of myths and misconceptions. And the more they understand the process, the easier it is for us to actually deal with that. And the less rejections we do, and the less time is wasted. And if we don't waste time and they don't waste time, it's so much.
Are we in the picture?
Yeah. Can you give the camera to this guy, and he's gonna take a picture, and you'll come in. You are this guy. Yeah.
Trust you with my phone.
If I were you, I'll run. He'll publish anything you give him afterwards.
Yeah. Yes, all the secrets in his phone.
Yes. I want vertical, that's all.
You see, we picked up the right person.
Yes.
He can do.
Your paper is accepted.
Your paper is accepted. Okay, colleagues, let's start. We put this together because we have the opportunity to have some very senior editors with us and the opportunity to have a conversation about journal publications and what we are looking at when papers are coming in. I'm surrounded by good friends, Professor Cathy Hsu from Hong Kong Polytechnic University and the editor-in-chief of Tourism Management, and Fevzi Okumus from Rosen College in the University of Central Florida, who is managing, who is the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Contemporary Hospitality Management and the
Journal of Hospitality and Tourism
Insights. So he's managing two journals, like one was not enough, right? And I'm, for the last probably 7 or 8 years now, I'm managing Tourism Review. So this is, I spent all night, last night, planning this session. I'm lying. We were in a nice place. And this is an opportunity to actually, for you to ask questions. Before we do that, I will ask Cathy and Fevzi to introduce their journal very briefly and to say what is the journal focusing on and how is that positioned within the top journals in tourism hospitality.
Okay. Is this on?
Yeah.
All right. Tourism Management, as you all know, it's a management-oriented journal. So, can I hear?
Now this is mine. This is not. No, this is on for the live.
Oh, that's for the live.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. It doesn't
It
work
doesn't
in the
work
room.
for the guys. You come
Okay,
closer so
come.
you can hear us. And I don't know, when I see a technician, we'll probably have a a microphone as well.
Okay, all right. So it's a management-focused journal, manager-oriented journal, and the other thing is it's a scholarly focused journal. So for two things, one, management-oriented. That means very often the first thing we look at a submission is there a management problem? Is there a management issue to be resolved by this particular study? So if at the end of reading the submission, I still don't understand the so what does it mean for the industry? What does it mean for management? Then if it's more like a theoretical, purely theoretical exercise, then probably tourism management is not the right journal. So it's a management-oriented journal. We're looking for studies that based on real life management issues. And the other thing that I mentioned is a scholarly focused journal, which means we're looking for submissions that go beyond providing empirical evidence. Because we want to push the knowledge boundary forward, and we would like to publish studies that can make theoretical contribution, advance the existing theories. Therefore, purely empirical studies probably, again, does not fit with the focus of tourism management. So those are the two primary things that we look at when we take a first look at submissions. So that's the first screening. And we do get a lot of submissions. Last year, 2023, we get just a bit over 2,000 submissions. So it's a lot to go through for us. And we do multi-layers of desk review. We have a managing editor who will take a first round of review, and he will screen out some very obvious papers that don't fit into the scope of tourism management, and then the remaining probably 70% of the 2,000 will come to me, and I do read through each and every one of them. I will make another layer of desk review. For those who pass my desk review, or I think, well, I'm not sure, but I think I need another person to take a third look, then I will pass it on to one of our associate editors. Then he, in this case, it's all him. So he will take another look and then make a decision whether to send it out for review. So we have a multi-layer desk review process. And then for those papers that go through the desk review, then we will send it out for peer review. So hopefully we have installed a very clear and quality mechanism there to recognize good papers. So I guess I'll stop here and we can pick it up later.
I took over IJCHM in 2007. And at that time, IJCHM was more an applied journal, UK-based. Over the years, I have repositioned the journal as more academic, theory-focused, but we kept that practical implication. So anything related to management of hospitality and tourism businesses, not destinations. We welcome all submissions. We don't accept tourism papers like tourism economics, tourism planning, touring, whatever, statistics, everything. Mainly management aspects, but not tourism, mainly hospitality. Last year, I think tourism management and IJCHM are the two journals received the most submissions. We were 1,942 submissions we received 2023.
1,900?
Yeah, 1,962. It's incredible. I think people are not writing, robots are writing these papers because every day I'm getting we are getting 6, 7 submissions. It's unbelievable. And some days, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, there are more submissions. Crazy. And our acceptance rate is about 10%. And I'm trying to publish less articles. Like I want to publish 100 articles a year, but the publisher, they want to publish 250, 300, and we have been really fighting in a way, debating. I keep saying no, no, no. What else? IJCHM, we welcome special issue proposals. but I selectively picked the best ones. And then in recent years, for the last 3 years, we started critical reflection papers. I think tourism management copied our idea a little bit recently. I saw in an email. Basically, in a way, we welcome everyone to look at a problem from a different perspective, a theory, a method, or something, and write a critical reflection on improving a methodology, a theory, an application. There is a problem, and this is my solution. This is our solution. And despite we keep saying critical reflection papers are not literature review papers, and mainly we get a lot of literature reviews saying, oh, this is a critical reflection paper, right? And in 2018, 17, the publisher came and said, would you like to start a new journal? I'm an academic entrepreneur, right? I love starting new things. And we agreed to start a new journal, and Journal of Hospitality and Tourism Insight. It was an experiment. And because in IJCHM we don't publish tourism papers, and we said we can publish tourism papers in this new journal. And Matilda, God bless her, Matilda and I started the journal together. And the first year in 2018, we published the first issues. We were so happy, and I never ever thought the journal would grow that fast. Guess how many submissions we received last year? 962 submissions.
Wow.
And it's more than many established journals in our field.
And how many of them are contemporary hospitality that they are?
Only 20%
10%?
transfer. Now, JHDI is an independent journal receiving its all submissions. As of today, it's 460 something submissions as of today. So we will reach, I think, 1,300 submissions to JHDI Inside Journal. IJCHM, I think this year we will receive it close to 2,000 or over 2,000. In terms of desk rejections, both journals, 50% desk rejections. I have for both journals 2 great teams, and 4 ladies for IJCHM. I trained them, they trained me, they have meetings. We have special templates, we look at the papers, and they send a desk rejection email with my name, all right? They're very fast, very efficient. And then we have 2 associate editors. They screen each submission again if it passes, if a paper passes to the editor's desk. Sometimes if they are confused, they are not sure what to do, they contact me, I step in and check. And then 2 of our associate editors assign reviewers, and I reject all papers except all papers by myself. I don't want variations, because some journals have associate editors. One associate editor is very soft, very kind. The other associate editor is also not very strict, not soft and kind. So there are variations among associate editors. In my case, in our case, for IJCHM, I make all the reject decisions and accept decisions. For JHDI, for the last 6 months, Osman Karatepe is our managing editor. He's making all the decisions, but I'm stepping in every week, checking in what they are doing, how they are doing. My role is more strategic now with JHDI. The funny thing is, JHDI recently included in the Q1, this Schmagel, I think, ranking. We were not expecting that fast growth with JHDI in terms of impact factor is 3.9. It's still included in the emerging citation index, and it's in Scopus. I feel proud of JHDI. Also, I feel proud of IJCHM, and I have 2 wonderful teams, one for IJCHM, one for JHDI. They work well. I strategically manage both journals. But one thing I often get, I stop here, when authors come at conferences and say, Professor Okumus, I published my first paper in IJCHM, I published my first paper in JHDI, thank you for your support. That's the best compliment. Although both journals now have acceptance rate of 10%, so we reject 90%, and it's great to make an impact in the field. So, have I missed anything?
No, I think we're gonna come back. So let me introduce briefly Tourism Review. I took over 2016. At that time, Tourism Review is the oldest and the most established journal in tourism. It started in 1946. So next year we're gonna be volume 80, and it's gonna be year 80 of the journal. I'm not that old. So different people actually started. And by 2016, the journal was not doing very well. It was publishing about 20 papers per year. It was receiving about 50 papers submitted. So we turned around.
And I did 3 special issues for Tourism Review before Professor Buhalis took over. And then they asked me to recommend anyone to take over Tourism Review. I said, there is a crazy guy, right, at Bournemouth University. You need to approach him. And they did. So I'm partially responsible if you have any complaints about Professor Buhalis.
Thank you so much. Next time, can you please give me an easier job? I mean, they never call me for the easy jobs. They call me for the most difficult jobs when things were quite. So we turn around the journal. Now the journal is performing really, really well. 2023, we got 913 papers. We published about 90 this year. Next year, we're going to 100. And I hope you cannot hear.
It's working.
You cannot hear? Yeah. I can speak louder, and then I don't even need the microphone. Last year, 913, we're gonna publish about 90 papers. And next year, we're going to publish 100 papers. And we have a front-loaded issue that's going to celebrate 80 years of the journal, because the only journal is 80 years. We are quite generic because Tourism Review can publish different areas. We publish management planning, sustainability, the whole lot. Increasingly, we do not publish hospitality. So if people are sending hospitality stuff, I'm sending that to Fevzi. And increasingly, we find that people who are coming to Tourism Review, they submit things that they are cutting edge, and there are things that they may not be mainstream to go to a top journal yet. So it's kind of the second ranking. And we're very proud of being really fast. So normally you get a desk rejection within 3 days, sometimes within 3 hours. If I'm in front of the computer. Fevzi used to say, and I remember that, and I didn't know what he meant at the time. He said, the editor never sleeps. Now I'm practicing it. We are editing the journal everywhere. In terms of the structure, most of the stuff is coming through me. So I do the first screening, and then sometimes it goes to associate editors, and they manage to find reviewers and things like that. About 60% of the papers who are going to reviewers, they're coming through me. About 40% they're going to associate editors. And I find that this is the only way that we can go fast. You get answers within 32, 35 days, you have got an answer. What we try to do, if someone goes to R1, then we really, so 65% of the papers are desk rejected from the beginning, within 3 days. Whatever is left, 35%, it's going out to reviewers. About 20% is being rejected in R1, meaning that 65 plus 20, 85% of the papers are dealt within 35 days. And then whatever is left, then we spend a little bit of more time, and we're more serious about evaluating And normally we accept at R4, sometimes R5. If the authors are not very clever, sometimes we've gone to R7 as well.
Emerald has a system. Yes, Emerald has a system. Every month, early, like first, second, third, we get an Excel file, both of us, and saying these are red, you are very late. These are green, these are blue and amber and everything. Assigning reviewers all this completion. I hate that email. Right? Like if someone is watching you, what you do, and we're trying fast, but
I love that email. It's all green. We have a benchmark of about 150 days to finish the process. That's why when authors are asking for extension, we're quite stingy. Also, when the reviewers are asking for an extension, we're quite stingy. So we don't allow people to, oh, can I have another 2 weeks of doing the review? No. Can I have another month to write the paper? No. Because we're trying to do it within 150 days. Okay.
And I don't know where that 150 day came, and I disputed that. I give extensions, and then I can defend myself to Emerald. And I am for quality work. And in our lives, things happen. You know, I'm on vacation here or going traveling, and I want to do a proper job in revising the paper. If I rush, it's not good quality.
We reject it. That's fine.
So there are variations among editors.
Yeah, we're kind. We're kind. Usually we give the author 3 months, but if they need additional time, for example, reviewers may ask for additional data collection. If they have to do another study to do another round of data collection, it takes more than 3 months. So the authors will come back and say, can we have another month to do it? Usually within 1 month, we just automatically grant the extension, but if it's more than 1 month, then we will discuss with the authors. But usually if it's within 1 or 2 months, it's fine.
The message here, if you need more time to revise your paper, make it stronger. Don't hesitate to ask the editors. Each editor, each journal is different, even if under the same publisher. Okay? It's worth trying.
My approach is submit a better paper from the beginning. So you are not going to go into this kind of rounds, and you are not going to be, you are not going to challenge yourself to get a desk rejection, because that is catastrophic. So what I normally say to people is that the most important thing is not to get the acceptance email, but not to get the rejection email. So when editors are saying to you, revise and resubmit, this is the best thing you can have, and because then you work with the editors and with the reviewers to actually improve the paper and get published.
Yeah, we rarely go to R4. Usually a decision is made at R3 because R1, you're giving one opportunity. R2, you're giving another opportunity. If 2 opportunities are not enough to bring the paper up to the level of publication, then we will say maybe tourism management is not the right outlet for you. So we really go to R3 or R4.
Yeah. Guys, this is the opportunity to ask questions. We're here to answer absolutely everything. We are honest and straight, and we may have different approaches, and it's good that you know what are the different approaches.
And whoever asks the best question, Professor Buhalis will accept your paper.
For contemporary hospitality, and we'll do that today. We'll review it on the spot, and contemporary hospitality is going to publish it by Tuesday. Yes. Okay. Questions? Don't be shy. Go for it.
Okay.
He needs some exercise, so. Athena, would you like to say who you are and which university, so we kind of get to know each other? Speak up.
I come from Greece, from the University. I recently joined the academia because I was working in the industry in the Greek National Tourism Organization. So I had my PhD a long time ago, and I'm trying now to, go in depth to the research. Common reason for which you would say easily. I mean, the most popular mistakes, let's say. And the second thing, what happens to the reviewers? I mean, if the reviewers provide you a live review, I mean, I imagine that people do not have the time to, because a lot of time to do the review properly. What happens if you can see that the reviewers haven't identified the issue with the paper? What do you do? How do you handle that question?
So two questions primarily. One is what's
You can keep the microphone and
yeah. Okay. So two questions primarily. One is what is the common areas of desk reject, and the second is quality of reviewers.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's the so what. If at the end of the day, I cannot understand what's the practical use of this piece of research, then very likely it's rejected from the tourism management. I guess each journal is a little different. So we're looking at the so what question, and we're looking at are you making any theoretical contributions? That's something that very often we see the authors are not articulating well for the manuscript that we receive. Very often under the theoretical contribution section, authors basically saying this is what we found, A causes B, B causes C, but that's empirical. That's not advancing any particular theoretical aspect. Very often they will say we use a social identity theory to, for example, underpin the research and this and that, but then at the end they don't mention anything about social, whatever the theory that the social exchange theory, whatever theory that they mentioned at the beginning. So we need to see very clearly, have you identified a theoretical gap? What's the shortcoming of the existing theory? And then how did your study improve that? So that's from the tourism management perspective. And for the reviewers, Elsevier has a system, every publisher has a system now, keeps track of the performance of the reviewers. So we try to use the good reviewers that we have in the system, but that caused another issue, that is there are only so many good reviewers. So we're using them, reusing them, overusing them, and we try not to do that. And we try to also offer young scholar, early career researcher an opportunity, and some of them are very appreciative, saying, thank you for inviting me to review this paper. So we need to take chances sometimes. So we try to use a combination of senior reviewer, editorial board member, and also young reviewer. And so maybe we get 3 review back, and 2 of them are very good, but 1 of them is not very helpful. But then that's when the editor comes in and say, okay, I think I get enough of a view, and then I can make a sound decision. So it's kind of a negotiation process sometimes.
For IJCHM and JHDI, same format. We have for IJCHM 4 assistant associate editors. They screen all submissions. And then for JHDI 2 assistant editors, they screen. And we have a template, checklist, title, abstract, introduction, literature review, methodology, and theoretical implications, practical implications. The more they screen, the better they get it. And if it's a qualitative paper, they look at procedures, how many interviews, how they analyze it, data saturation. If it is SEM, they have checklists, all those things. I'm very proud of my team. They go through very carefully. But as Cathy mentioned, at the end, it's formatting, but it's more so what theoretical implications and practical implications. And then if there are no strong implications, theoretical and practical, we go ahead and reject. That's why, as Professor Buhalis mentioned, Dimitrios, from the beginning, make sure your paper is strong, all right? And you know your theoretical contribution clearly, highlight very clearly, and then be specific, and then your practical implications. And now we are in a state, if your paper passes the editor's desk and is sent out to reviewers, we are celebrating, including myself. Because all journals, at least 50, 60% desk rejection. We are celebrating now if my paper goes out to review. Okay? If editor doesn't best reject, it's now we're in that stage for top journals. In terms of what I'm trying to say for test rejection, we have a template. My colleagues go ahead and follow that checklist, and we are hoping to publish that checklist soon in IJCHM. That will be like why your paper is test rejected, a checklist you will have. In terms of reviewers, we evaluate each reviewer very carefully. Time, in terms of timely submission, in terms of detailed submissions, very constructive, long enough, and then specific enough. And then we give 1 to poor, we give 3 points to those who submit on time, as well as very detailed. And even if someone is my editorial board member, if she is not doing a proper job at the end of the year, I say thank you very much for your service, we move on, right? We update our editorial boards every year and hire the best, keep the best, and then if they don't do a proper job, we let them go. And also we specifically read their comments. If someone is insulting the authors, making stupid, really bad comments, and then I mark that person red, and then gradually I say thank you very much as an editorial board member. If that person is an ad hoc reviewer, we don't invite that person again. We don't need anyone insulting our authors. Yes, no one is perfect, all right? Your research may have limitations, but sometimes they write like, what a stupid paper. This, an undergraduate student can write something better, and then like language issues. I'm not a native English speaker. We can make mistakes, but you don't need to insult, be constructive, right? So I think, yes.
So colleagues have covered me. How many of you are reviewers? How many of you are not reviewers?
Good for you.
Okay, let me explain to you what's happening, right? Paper comes in, survives the desk rejection, then goes to reviewers. I don't know how many reviewers you are selecting. I've got to tell you, in tourism review, we're selecting about, depending on the topic, between 12 and 18 reviewers. 12 and 18 reviewers. I'm expecting 4 reviewers, 4 good reviews on the first round. Sometimes I get 6, sometimes I get 2. But I'm trying on the first review to have 4 good reviews. If I've got a bad review, 5th, I may delete it. You may not see that. The author may never see it. Because if the review is not helpful and it's not contributing, there is no point of sending that to the author. So sometimes we are filtering the reviews. Okay. Wait.
Sorry.
Now, out of the 14 invitations that we sent, how many people accept? 5, 6, 7. What's the biggest number of reviewers I've invited to review a paper? What's the largest? 37. We invited 37 people to look into a paper, so I can have 4 good reviews. Authors think that the reviewers own them to review their paper and be nice, constructive, and all the rest of it. How long does it take to review a paper? For a junior academic, it takes a couple of days. For some of the very experienced people, it probably takes a couple of hours. 3 hours, something like that. Now, be careful with the numbers here. So if I send the paper out to 15 people, and I get 5 or 6 people to look into a paper, so I get about 5 or 6 days worth of consultancy and advice to go back to your paper, right? Then you're going away, you're reviewing the paper again, comes back, it goes again to the same reviewers. There's an attrition, a high attrition level. So next time, not 5 or 6 they're going to review, but probably 3 or 4. Again, they'll spend a couple of days. So you've got 6 days plus 4 days, 10 days worth of labor, free advice, someone look into your paper. And then probably another round with again 2 or 3 or 4, 5 days. So before a paper is getting published in Tourism Review, I estimate that they've had 15 days of free academic advice from colleagues. Quite a lot, eh? You never thought about it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, because you have taken 15 days of academic advice, you owed it back in the system for others who are submitting the papers. So I'm always encouraging people to become reviewers. You understand and you learn so much by doing it, and you understand the process. And also, we say to people that if you are not willing to review, so if I'm sending invitations to individuals and they say, no, I don't have the time to review, and I don't have time to review, I don't have time to publish their papers. So we get them out of the system, because if they are not putting the credit in the system, they cannot take the credit out of the system. So my advice is to write to the journal that you feel at home. So for me, my home is tourist management, because I write management stuff, right? Bob MacArthur has said to me once that there are people who are writing for tourist management or people who are writing for annals, much more social science kind of thing. My personal style is for tourist management. Other colleagues are writing for other journals. And then you contribute to that journal. You engage with that journal. You review for that journal. You work closely with that community. Other questions? Sir.
We use a different approach. I never invite that many because I feel bad if I have 5 people doing review for one paper, because we're only asked for 3 good reviews. If I get 3 good reviews back and there are 3 other people agree to review, and then I send a termination letter saying your review is no longer required, some of them may get very angry. They will say, I already spent 4 hours, now you're telling me you don't need my review. So we don't want to waste their 4 hours they already put in, and we don't want the reviewers to feel like, okay, now what, right? You're wasting my time. So it is, again, a negotiation process. We trust the reviewers. When you say you will review by the deadline, we trust you will turn in your review by the deadline. It doesn't happen always, but I will continue to chase you and say, can you send me? So it's more work for us. If the deadline is today and I don't hear from you for another 5 days, I will email you. I rather put the work on myself than saying you do the work and now I don't need your help, right? So I guess it's different ways.
Cathy, apologies, I owe you 2 reviews. Because it happens, right?
Yeah.
What happens is a real case. You know, quite often people get upset when you tell them I don't longer need your review. But what we do is if they said they've done it, I said send it to me on an email, and we include it back into the system, so it's not wasted. The reason why we're doing that is that chasing people constantly will extend the delay of how long people are waiting. There's nothing worse than a paper being locked in a journal for months and months and months. I keep saying to people that very few of us are writing papers because we enjoy doing it. We don't need to prove anything. If we write a paper, we write a paper because we really like to write a paper. It's not because my boss is saying, can you write a paper? But a lot of people need the paper to graduate from their PhDs. They need a certain number of papers to get promoted, to get their first job. And the impact of that is really dramatic, you know, and I'm fully aware that people are waiting So if you are to get rejected, I would rather have you out of the system within 40 days. So you know that you are not part of, you cannot, this paper cannot progress in tourism review within 40 days, 45 days. And then you can see, and with feedback. So then you can improve the paper, send it to Fevzi, or send it to Cathy, or send it to another journal. But within 45 days, you more or less know whether the paper is going to go somewhere. And then those who are on go R2 or R3, it's a much smaller kind of number of papers, but you still had enough feedback to know whether you should invest more to go forward. Do you have more questions?
Hi, Yichang from University of England. I'm very happy to learn a bit more about.
Speak up, I cannot hear you.
I'm very happy to learn a bit more about what the editor thinks about the reviewer. But I still feel, I think it's we always have a question about increasing the number of reviewer and enhancing the quality of the review. So in general, what would be our strategy in doing that? I think it's more general than the process. My second question is.
So hold on, let's understand the first question. So what you're questioning is that if you have a bigger number of reviewers, would that contribute to the quality of the paper? Is this your question?
My question is about how to increase the number of reviewers as a field, and also how to enhance the quality of the review. So what we should do moving forward in order to
How do we increase the number of reviewers?
We're recruiting here.
Yeah.
Nobody lives here without sending us an email saying, I'd like to review, right? Why do you think we're doing this?
I think the systems, each publisher has a different platform. The platforms are getting smarter. Now they're trying to match submission with reviewers. They go through, now the AI can go through the reference list. So very often they will suggest people from the reference list. They will suggest people who have the expertise from the editorial board, from past reviewers. So today, I think the system is much friendlier and stronger, smarter compared even to 2 or 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, I spent a lot of time manually going through, and only going through my mind as well, and going through Google Scholar, trying to find suitable reviewers. But today, it's much easier. So I guess, like Dimitrios said, please sign up. For each reviewer, there is a platform, set up an account, input your expertise area, keywords, classification, whatever the term that they use. The more comprehensive a profile you have, the easier it is for us to match our submission with your expertise. Therefore, you will be invited. And I hope you don't do this the other way so that you don't get invited. But we do need your help. We do need good reviewers. And also, we tried at different conferences, if time allows, we would like to offer reviewer workshops so that we can groom the next generation of excellent reviewers. And for tourism management, if you don't know already, every Monday evening, Hong Kong time, every Monday, every first Monday of every month, we have a 1-hour webinar or editor office hour. And the earlier webinar, the first webinar we did actually was about how to be a good reviewer, how to address reviewer comments. So all of those are available. The recordings are available on YouTube. So if you do a search of TM Editor Office Hour, the previous materials are there, and Dimitrios has a very active social media accumulation of the different things that he has done. So lots of resources out there. And I understand everybody has a limited amount of time. So that's why we try to do face-to-face when we get a chance at conferences. 1 hour is not enough to do a reviewer training session, but when we have time, we do like to offer workshops to help young scholars to become good reviewers.
very similar comments. Whenever I attend a conference, I like to recruit at least 5 reviewers for my journals at least, and I always invite people to sign up. And then if you are not receiving any invitations, send me an email, we will send you papers to review. It's a good thing to learn about. And IJCHM and Tourism Review, we have the system, Scholar One system. Last year for IJCHM, we sent emails to almost 9,000 people there in our system saying, thank you for your support. Please go to this web link, Scholar One for IJCHM, update your profile, keyword, your institution. Guess what? At least 2,000, 3,000 duplicate accounts. One person worked for University A, finished her PhD, moved to University B, and previous account is still there. And then University B, 2 years, 3 years, and moved to University C and another account. So we are trying to merge these accounts and update those accounts. It's a hassle, it's a headache, but still trying to update. Also, manually, we add new reviewers. And when you submit a paper, you're already in the system, but please put all your information and your co-author's information accurately. Their PhDs, their emails. Guess what? When someone submits a paper, they don't put proper information of their co-authors. Wrong institution, wrong emails, and it's a mess. And then when you put your co-author's institution wrong, later we cannot change that institution to the correct institution. And it's COPPA's regulations, wherever you did your research, or whichever you first submitted your paper and declared institution A, later publishers or we don't allow you to make any changes. So a lot of headaches in terms of these accounts. And then in terms of preparing our reviewers training, we have done, all of us have done a lot of workshops at conferences. I have done 2-3 workshops at the graduate conference in the United States for graduate students, training them, preparing them how to review papers. It takes some time. It's all about like really reading, and you should have a checklist for each section, what you look for. And what I do personally, I read a paper 1 hour and then put some comments as a reviewer for journals. And then next time I read it very carefully and then put my comments on the system and then save it. Because if that moment, if I'm angry, upset, very happy, very tired, sometimes I make irrational decisions. Okay? So next day I look at the paper briefly and then look at my comments, polish it, make it nicer, even if I'm rejecting. I put some nice comments, constructive, and then move on. So, and PhD students can work with their advisors, right, to learn. It's a service giving back. Thank you.
My name is Fevzi Okumus. I joined very recently from 2010. I work at the University of Life Sciences in Aveiro, the Faculty of Tourism and Environment. Before joining the academia, I worked in industry, in hospital and healthcare management. So I have limited experience in communication and research, although I completed my PhD long time ago. So I have one question related to Professor Perez's comment. You mentioned that there is a checklist that you editors have with reviewers, and reviewers should follow the checklist. Is there anything available for researchers that they can use it as a fix to follow the checklist?
Okay.
For example, when you do some EMP certification, there is always a book that guides you how to prepare for the certification or something like that. And then I have another question, which is related to Professor Dimitrios' comment about the publication timeline. Mentioned that you usually notify and inform the researchers that the papers will not be accepted for 45 days. I have experience recently Council in June. It has gone through the review process, has been accepted. And it stays in the quality assurance for more than 10 months now. And I have no feedback from the editors. Also I have
Name and same the journal.
It's Indo Science Communication, Journal of Operations, Services of Operations Management.
My suggestion, after 3 months, if you don't hear anything, send a nice email. This is a trick. One of my co-authors is applying for a job or applying for promotion. Any update on this, our submission will be much appreciated. All right, not you, one of your co-authors. Okay.
I already
and
did, but still no response.
and then you write to the publisher.
Okay.
If perhaps another problem is because all of us use our university emails for the journal, sometimes they mark our emails as spam, and our emails go to the spam folder, and our authors, reviewers don't receive these emails. It's possible that you can send the email, but the editor may not be receiving. So copy associate editors, publisher, and say, I've sent emails to the editor, but somehow we are not receiving any feedback, any response. Your help will be much appreciated. Any email you send, please be nice and gentle and professional. I received emails like, editor.
You.
Yes, please send me an update on my paper. But very rude. It has been 4 weeks, no response yet. I go into the system, I see 2 rejections, and then reject the paper, right? Because if someone says, Professor Okumus, I submitted this paper, we are waiting to hear, any updates will be appreciated. But if it is only 4 weeks, too early. 3 months, after 3 months, a professional, gentle reminder. In terms of your checklist, if you Google, you find checklist on the internet. And Tourism Academy, they published something, I think Professor Bob McKercher published something on publishing a paper checklist. And soon we will publish in IJCHM a checklist why your paper is desk rejected. And I think the editor, co-editors of Annals of Tourism Research, they publish something why your paper is desk rejected in Annals. You can check those. They are very consistent across different fields as well.
I have to tell you that right now in our field, we are quite lucky because all the editors are very good and we're good friends and we collaborate together. That is an opportunity because we keep an eye for each other. So if someone is trying to do some kind of unethical behavior or something is going wrong, we'll communicate with ourselves, and quite often, you know, I think recently I sent an alert with some people. There are a lot of unethical behavior right now in publishing, a lot of unethical behavior, and the more we get ChatGPT, the more we get people getting a lot of pressure. You see more papers coming out, and you see strange things. The systems become much more clever, so the system will tell me how many submissions has that computer done to different journals. So if a computer has done more than, I don't know, a number, I get a red flag and say, have a look. Is this a real paper or is it a paper mill paper that people are sending? The good thing is that we collaborate very closely. And quite often we will check with each other. Have you seen this? Anything like that happening before? The other thing that says, send a nice paper. I get a lot of papers, a lot of cover letters that they say, Dear Cathy, I've submitted the paper, and my response is, please address that to Professor Hsu. You've sent it to the wrong journal. Because what's happened is that, you know, I guess that people are getting rejected from tourism management and they come to tourism review, but they haven't changed the cover letters. They haven't changed some of the stuff. So I get a lot of Dear Cathy.
one more thing is, in addition to what Professor Buhalis says, a paper is rejected by tourism management, and 3-4 reviewers gave very nice critical feedback. The authors are lazy, they don't want to make any changes, and they submit it to tourism review or another tourism journal. Guess what? The same reviewers will review your paper more or less, at least one of them, right? Very common. And then guess what? I reviewed this paper last week or 2 months ago, rejected, just copy and paste the same feedback. Bye.
Simples.
Michael Longo from Purdue University. This is great. I love it. This is the most important panel in the conference. So I used to do a lot of research and publish on behavioral that's what I generally get to.
Speak up and speak slowly, guys. I'll tell you what. The speakers here, the microphones, is to address that. So we hear very little here.
Okay. So Michael Longo from Purdue University.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
The question.
So most of my reviewing has been on LGBT tourism. So now I've gone back to look at tourism development in the context of conflict. And what I've been finding is that this currently folks have about collecting their data or having to go back and review certain portions. But I've been finding, because I'm doing qualitative work out of conflict zones, being subjects of conflict zones, my IRP, the Institutional Review Board, it can take up to 6 if I have to make a change in my research. It can take them up to 6 months to get back to me. So with these deadlines of asking for weeks or 30 days, if someone comes back to me and says, well, one, it's not that I'm lazy, but this could take 6 months to do this change, or can you challenge that request? Or can you say, I know this won't work with your deadline, but can I come back to you in 6 months with this update? Is it going to be possible?
I will reject the paper because it gets out of 150 days. And if you explain that, look, I need this ethics and whatever, I'll say, okay, we start the process again. When you are ready with your internal process, submit as a new submission, and we'll start again.
That's what I would figure would be.
Yeah, because I really don't like, I like the monthly paper that I get from Emerald that says this is what you're doing. But when I see reds on top, it kind of reflects back on me because of your problems. So I would rather reject your paper and you come back in 6 months whenever you're ready, and then we'll evaluate within the process. I'm the bad guy. But guys, don't forget, we only publish 1 out of 10 papers. And we really want to help and we really want to publish the papers. But if there are enough on the 9, they're gonna be there, right? So your job as an author, and actually it's not you and us because we are all authors. I mean, Fevzi has got a bad habit of rejecting my papers, and Cathy as well, right? So all of us as authors, we are going through the same process. The other thing is that as editors, you still need to teach. You have got your PhD students, you're doing keynotes, you're traveling around the world, you've got your research applications, you've got the whole lot. I estimate that the journal Tourism Review right now is a full-time job that they do not have a full-time job. So it's a full-time hobby that occupies probably the equivalent of a full-time job. Okay, so it's really important that when you're sending something, does not waste time, because we don't have time. I mean, it's all our personal. We're all in a very peculiar situation because we are all spending our personal time doing this. Why do we do it? It's madness. We love it. We give that to the community. This is what our service is, to build the community. Okay, and all the editors right now in tourism hospitality are like that. I don't know of anybody who is doing anything else. So it's really about It's really about respecting the time of everybody else. And I know in some contexts that's not the case in Portugal, in some other places. People are under incredible pressure to publish 5 papers, 10 papers per year. They don't get tenure unless they've got 15 papers in 5 years. In 5 years. So they get the pressure to write and send in. But the minute that the paper arrives, you see that it's a half-cooked thing, that someone was pressurized to do it, and you have no more choice rather than reject it and give it some feedback. And say, when you're ready, come to us. The other thing is, and I'd like your views on that, is that there are several journals, open access journals, that they'll publish anything. They publish your shopping list. Okay? And then, as an administrator, as an evaluator for applications for people to apply for jobs or for promotions, for professorships, you see a very long list of papers that they are published in very low quality journals, and there's an issue with that. Okay? So think strategically where you publish. Think strategically where you invest time and you respect the time of others. So whatever comes in is good quality, that's going to represent you and it's going to take you forward. And it's not about quality, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. It's something that's going to take you forward.
I have met authors who said, when I get rejection from tourism management, I'm actually happy. The comment,
Not me.
the comment, the reason behind the comment was he said, or a few of them said, we actually get very good comments from the reviewers so that they can get the comments, address them, and elevate the quality of their paper. However, please don't use journal as free consulting services, because I don't know about other journal. For tourism management, you only get one chance. So if this paper is rejected, you revise it, you resubmit, we will reject it automatically because you had your chance. The system will pick it up as a duplicate submission, and that is an automatic rejection. So don't try to use journal as free consulting services to help you improve the quality of your paper. The other thing is, if you are, as an author, if you're given a chance to revise and you decide not to revise because the reviewer simply asked too much, I have no intention of it, I just give up, I will submit to another journal, please decline the revision invitation before you submit to another journal. Because if you don't, again, the AI will pick it up and say, hey, you are doing simultaneous submission to 2 journals. And the consequence is both journals will reject your paper, right? So if you have a live case in one journal and you decide to go for another journal, decline the invitation first. Otherwise, you will end up losing opportunities for both journals.
And you get the red flag. If you get the red flag, as an author, that is really catastrophic.
Yeah, that's a way to make a name for yourself among journal editors. We'll remember those.
You may think that editors own the journals. No. Okay? Emerald owns IJCHM and JHTI and Tourism Review. Elsevier owns Tourism Management. And then we are audited very carefully with all our decisions and everything. We have meetings with the publishers, what we are doing, how we are doing, and getting reports, everything, right, in between. And then also, we have regular meetings with our senior editorial team members. I find myself justifying why I decide this way, that way. And my team members ask me some very specific questions about why we are doing, how we are doing. So it's, being an editor is not really fun. And often my wife and my daughters mad at me saying, why are you doing this? You don't need this. And then you spend so much time and so much energy. And then you get nasty emails from the authors and like really, sometimes we are, I'm not sure why, but it's also wonderful to help authors. I get feedback saying, you rejected our paper, but it was good. There was a major mistake we didn't know, and if it was published like that, we would be in trouble. Okay, so for me, research is a journey, trying to get better and learn new things. And for me, it's not the number of publications you have a specific field and work, make a name for yourself, and try to solve problems and contribute to the field theoretically and practically, and improve your methodological knowledge and mentor junior faculty. That is the purpose of research journey. And I see myself, I thought after my PhD I was a good researcher. Now when I think about it, I was not a good researcher, right? I'm better than last year, but next year maybe I will be better if I continue learning. We focus far too much on number of publications and citations, which is a mistake right now for many of us. It should be the expertise, the focused research agenda we're trying to solve problems. In terms of open access journals, Tourism Review is an open access journal, IJCHM is an open access journal, Tourism Management is an open access journal. As long as you pay 3,000 whatever dollar or pound or sterling, you go through the proper procedures and double blind review process. But there are some predatory publishers, and anything you send, they don't follow the double blind review process, and a lot of issues, challenges, it's not a proper way. They're there to make money maybe in a questionable way. So my other advice, be careful when you publish in those open access journals published by predatory journals, publishers. And then also if they ask you to do special issues, be careful. And also if they ask you to serve on their editorial board, be careful, because once they put your name there, you cannot remove your name. You have to send multiple emails, and then your affiliation with a predatory journal is not good for your career, right? Just some humble recommendation suggestions.
Just qualified what Fevzi said. Our journals, with the subscription model, have got the model of open access, but actually it does not impact the decision making. Once the decision is made, the publisher is asking, would you like that paper to be open access? And then there is a fee that you pay. Otherwise, you don't have to pay anything anywhere as an author. Having said that, increasingly there is something transformative agreements, or what are they called?
With the university.
With the university. So several universities and several governments have negotiated deals with publishers. So any paper I'm now publishing in any Elsevier journal is going as an open access, because Bournemouth University has negotiated with Elsevier that whatever we publish open access. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm now targeting Elsevier journals more than Emerald journals, because I would rather benefit from my papers become open access and to give access to everybody to read. It's good for citations, good for support to the community, and that is also that you need to look at. This is very location dependent and university dependent. In Emerald, we have got some transformative agreements in several places. I think Brazil is one of them, where you can publish open access for free or for a very small fee. Someone had the microphone. You had the microphone.
So my name is Adriana. I'm a professor in Federal University of Continental Brazil and here at Aveiro research. And my question is to Fevzi. I think it would be some tips about the special issue proposals. How you talk about the only the best proposal is approved. What do you look for? Some trends, topics, or regions, or what do you look for in
Special issues.
special issues?
Thank you. I think all journals publish special issues. For me, there are two ways. One, they come together, 3, 4 authors or potential guest editors, and submit a proposal. And then I look at it, the potential for me, I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur. Will this special issue receive enough submissions? If it is on a hot topic, and then will the papers we publish in this special issue be downloaded and cited? Of course, they need to make theoretical and practical implications they need to offer. So in recent years, we published special issues on diversity, special issues on sustainability, special issues on metaverse, artificial intelligence, and we have to make sure that it's hot topic, current topics, and we will be able to receive enough submissions. And another thing is, I am very careful with selecting guest editors and their backgrounds, and recently, Emerald started reviewing, background checking all the guest editors. If they have any, let's say, retracted papers, any ethical issues, and so forth. So for someone to become an editor, they do a background check, and to become a guest editor, also they do background check if there is any retracted paper, unethical practices, and all those things. So if you have an idea about a special issue in short, you can send an email and highlight why it is important and how important it is and how it will contribute. And we no longer assign special issues to conferences. And then we must make sure 100% that the guest editors will do a proper job in terms of double-blind review process, because I have observed, like, oh, I have a guest issue, a special issue, I'm guest editing, I will accept my friend's papers, and then so forth. No, not at all. And we closely monitor guest editors, how they manage the review process as well. The short answer is, it has to be very specific, hot topic, and important, and there is a specific gap that you want to fill in with your special issue. I'm sure Cathy and Dimitrios has some comments about special issues.
Yeah, we only opened up special issue last year because of the large number of submissions. Actually, special issues now for tourism management, I'm sure for other journals as well, is a virtual special issue because the papers get published when they're accepted. So even though it's a special issue, some paper may be in volume 101, 102, 103, 104, but then at the end of the day, we just link to a special issue collection. So it's really a virtual special issue. In the old days, special issue editors may accept paper that are of lesser quality because they need enough of paper to make a special issue. But now the number of papers accepted in a special issue is no longer a concern because it's a virtual special issue. So it could be 3 papers, 4 papers, 5 papers. So it's a collection. But like Fevzi said, it needs to be an important topic and has all the potential and all that. And for tourism management, we do it a little differently.